Yo, what's up, people? I think I do still need the headphones. Sorry about that. Hi. Hello, everyone. What's up? Lehoma. How's everyone doing? Welcome to Jeng's Jungle. This is the first episode. Thank you for watching. If you're watching this right now, if you're listening to this right now, if you're still here and you've not clicked exit, close the window, pause, click on another video or whatever, you're probably a pretty cool person. So thank you for existing. Today, I want to share with you a conversation I had with a dear friend of mine that we recorded earlier this year, but I've just been procrastinating so much, doing the editing and just all the other work, and doing this video right now. I've actually clicked record for like the 50th, 60th time already. I've done this so many times and I've screwed up every single time. It's crazy. 50 times, guys. 50 times I've pressed record and stopped, went on the computer, checked out the recordings, and was unhappy with the recording. But anyway, we're gonna keep this as the last one, all right? This is gonna be the last one I'm gonna record. I'm not gonna do another one of these. Spend a whole afternoon doing this. And look at it right now. Does it look like a day? It's not the day anymore, guys. It's night. It's fucking midnight. So I'm back here. I'm gonna do the intro for you. The intro is for my friend Peng Hooi. I talked to him earlier this year, and it was mostly about his job as a personal trainer or a fitness trainer. And look, I've been thinking about doing this for a very long time now. I think it's just good information to have out there. I think thinking about how many options we have right now available to our young people, people who are going to colleges, whatever, they're gonna be thrust into a position to decide what they want to do or what they want to do for the rest of their lives. And most of them will be like me, probably, or at least some of them, all right? If not all. Any percentage, some of them will have been like me, in which they are unprepared to make that kind of decision, because it's not a cheap decision, right? It's pretty expensive of a choice, because when it's not just money that you're spending, you're going to be spending the next few years of your life, right, on studying this thing. You're going to be spending your opportunities, you're spending your money, you're spending your time, you're spending your energy on this thing that you may not ever use again, right? So what I'm getting at is that I want to create this library of information, library of people just talking about their jobs. And the hope is that this will help young people when they have to decide what to study. It will give them insight into all the jobs they are, contemplating. Right? They can judge more accurately with more information. They can make more informed decisions. That's the hope. So, yeah. But another thing is, I do find these kind of conversations that they have potential to be very interesting, because when we're talking about a job, we're talking about something that a person spends 1/3 of their lives doing, right? 1/3 of the time. And if you discount sleep, we're talking about half your time, right? In a day, you sleep 8 hours, you work for 8 hours, and you have 8 hours left to do everything else. That's 1/3 of your time working. And what are we but, what we do and what we think? So I think it's a shame when you're friends with someone and you don't get to interact with them at work, what you're essentially doing is you're missing out on half of who they are as a person, right? You don't get to experience half of what they are, who they are. So I think that's a shame. And that's why I think these kind of conversations are quite interesting. Now, there will be some parts in this episode where I do sound a bit bored. I wasn't. I promise you I wasn't. I was actually very tired. I was tired because the night before I had crazy work. Like my line of work, it's always last minute stuff. It's always they need it tomorrow, they need it yesterday, and they call me at on a Friday. And the thing is that it's very hard for me to plan my time around my work, but I'm very grateful for Peng Hooi for being as cool as he was, because he was actually carrying many parts of the conversation. I think my energy was getting down and low because I was just so mentally dead at the point. So yeah, thanks, dude, if you're listening right now, if you're watching this right now. And hello, friends who have decided to bless me with your time listening to me talk. Anyway, I was getting at, I don't have video recorded for this episode. I'm still setting this place up. It's a mess right now. I won't lie, but I'll get it done. All right, I'll get it done. Anyway, I don't have video for you right now for this episode, but I do still want you to have a good visual representation, or a nice mental image of who we're talking to today, right? Because I think that adds to the experience. So I want to try to describe my friend a little. My friend Peng Hooi. What's he look like? In Lord of the Rings, the second episode, Merry and Pippin, the two hobbits, they're prancing about in the jungle at one point, right? And they start to get little sounds of the forest moving, right? Then they hear this low rumbling voice behind them. So they turn and they see this big fucking moving tree, right? That's that's essentially what Peng Hooi is like. He's a big fucking moving tree. He's better groomed than the moving trees in Lord of the Rings, but he is this big bulk of a guy. He's a big Chinese guy. He's big for a Chinese guy. If he goes to some white people country or black people country, then he'd probably fit right in. But right here, most people are my size, and that's how I see him. He frequents very tight pants, but you can't blame him because he does have massive legs. What I'm trying to get at is that he looks like a jock, all right? He looks like a meathead. I guess that's what you expect a personal trainer to look like. But beneath his jock exterior, he is actually an absolute nerd. Like, nerd. He actually does wear glasses. He's very knowledgeable. He's very smart, and he speaks well. He was actually a nuclear scientist. That's how much of a nerd he is, right? A fucking nuclear scientist. I love to tell people that, because who the fuck do you know who is a nuclear scientist? I didn't even conceive of that as an option, right? I didn't even think of that as a possible direction in life. Maybe that speaks more about who I am, but it is what it is, man. But there he was. He went to Australia, studied for one, and worked as one. You know, he was a nuclear scientist. He doesn't do that anymore, though, and he'll tell you why in a minute. But in many ways, you know, like I mentioned, he is like the Incredible Hulk from Marvel. A less angry Chinese Hulk, you know, used to be a scientist, a genius scientist. Now, just a thing with muscles and very tight pants. Yeah, he's like the Yellow Hulk, you know, a monster as an exterior. Looks like a fucking monster, but is actually a superhero, you know, a nice guy, a genuine nice guy, a sweetheart. He's a real sweetheart inside. So yeah, without further ado, guys, I hope you enjoy my conversation with Chinese Hulk. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Peng the trainer.
That was a good brunch.
Have you had breakfast already before coming?
Yeah. Generally, I do have my breakfast before my first class.
Yeah, because you woke up quite early.
Yeah.
I think I texted you at 7, right when I was going to sleep.
I replied you pretty instantly. Yeah, usually 7 approaching 8 is usually when I finish my first class. So
I think try to keep the mic about
closer
this the way. Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I was saying around 7:30 to 8. That's usually when I finish my first class. So
right.
Usually,
before office hours.
Yeah, correct.
They come find you, or you go to them.
No, my morning class is strictly virtual.
Oh, I see.
So I'll be at home.
That's nice.
Yeah, convenient.
Yeah.
The only upside is
Do you charge the same?
no, it's different. Like virtual classes are definitely a lot cheaper because it's when I group my clients together.
Oh, okay. You do like a little Zoom group call.
Yeah, so I think my classes range anywhere from 3 to 6 in one class. Only some certain exceptional days when some of my clients couldn't make it to a physical training session. So my one-on-one clients, only then if I realize that they are falling short of 2 to 3 sessions per week, if they can only make it to 1 session per week. So that's when I'll supplement it with virtual classes, just one-on-one.
Right.
But I mean, prior they would already know what to do, so they do not need like physical guidance from me. So I could just tell them what to do. I just need to watch their repetitions and count their rests, and also watch for their form partially, because it's all through the lens of camera. So it's definitely not as ideal as watching them physically, but it's close enough.
Do you have any homework or assignments? Like, is it? I'm asking because looking in from the outside, all right, it's I think what you see, you can kind of see just a personal trainer.
Yeah,
they basically do their work at the gym. Like,
I might need to stop everyone first. Like, just for clarity, I'm a fitness trainer.
Oh, you're a fitness trainer, not a personal trainer.
No, I'm a personal trainer, but because we kind of jump into this without any context.
Yeah. I think I'll probably record something to introduce.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah, later on. But
jump straight.
So, looking at it from the outside, I think you go to work and you meet the client, sit through a session, tell them what to do, show them how to do it a little, explain some things, and then you go back home and job done. Right? So what are the things that people don't really see, or do you have any homework or?
So all right, so I'll walk you through the phase of a new client before I go into my more senior clients. Generally for newer clients, the first few things I need to get done is to do a of course, after I've gotten their health assessment from the doctor, so getting to know a little bit about their health history. Once it's all checked out, so once I get them in, I will do a physical assessment, so to know if there are any other injuries that they might have, any possible contraindications that they might have when performing any of the 5 basic movements. So hypothetically, if all checks out, then only slowly I'll progress them through basics of movement. Then we'll progress into some strength and conditioning, and then depending on their end goals, some I might introduce a bit more cardiovascular based movement if their intention is to go for a long distance marathon. But if it's just aesthetics and just for the purpose of fat loss, then it's a lot of strength and conditioning with a little bit of cardiovascular training weave into them.
Is it completely customized, like personalized, the regimen, or do you have some sort of a template ready already?
So I do have a template, but it's a template of exercises that I could choose from. So generally, the template will consist of isolation movements that separates all 5 basic movements, and also compound-based movements, and some variations depending on if and when they have possible injury or possible pains that might have incurred from a past trauma. But if it's not, I do have a template that I can pick the exercises. But once I take in a new client, it's just me selecting items from the template rather than using a template.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I have a selection of pretty much like a exercise dictionary. Then from there, when I'm customizing a workout program, it will be broken down into first, I will look straight at the mesocycle. Mesocycle is usually when we look at the whole program encompassing 4 to 8 weeks.
Mesocycle?
MESO, mesocycle. So it's a
mesocycle.
Yeah, collection of weekly cycles.
Right.
So I'll look through the mesocycles program based on their end goal itself. So from there, I'll design a mesocycle. And then from a mesocycle, I have a breakdown of weeks that might focus strictly on techniques and forms, weeks that focus on literally slowly gradually increasing their progressively increasing their loads, or weeks that just focus on pure conditioning based workouts, so a lot of explosive based movements. Again, all of this are dependent on their end goals itself. So no one of my client will go through a same 1 to 1 hour 15 minutes of training with me. Not one program is identical.
Right. So getting back to the original question, is your homework or is your homework basically just planning
Correct.
the workouts?
Yes. Planning the workouts, and throughout the whole period of me contracting with them, it's just knowing if and when they've had any. So the little things that some people might not know is if and when your client has poor sleep throughout that week itself, you will have to accommodate them, and you have to redesign your.
I see.
So hypothetically, if let's say it's the week that we are pushing for load, so I'm going to gradually increase their loads, but if they have poor sleep, they cannot execute an increased load properly. So they might risk injury. So I might need to pause that or bring up one of the previous weeks or the week after that has might resemble like a deload kind of week. That I might need to bring that earlier because of their poor sleep schedule. Or if let's say they have an injury, I might need to schedule a recovery program before we can resume with that previous program.
Right.
So a lot of these little things, subtle things that goes into the program.
So a lot of replanning and just adjustment according to what's going on.
Correct. And of course, a good portion of my clientele are female, so I will need to take into account their time of the month as well. So when they're having a period, I'll have there are certain things that I need to know, like they are not as enthusiastic to work out. They feel more lethargic. They fatigue a lot quicker. They feel very unmotivated. So not only do I need to schedule a program, but I need to encourage them to do workouts that they enjoy. So maybe switching up one of the heavier ones for a lighter one, but then swapping it with something that mimics a similar movement as well, but not quite the program. But it's sort of a way to, all right, I can't get you to do lunges, but maybe I could get you to do maybe a deficit version, something easier.
Right. Is that the only way you? Is that the only thing you do to encourage them, to push them to do something, like to make it easier by replanning the workouts and all these kind of things, or do you, I don't know, try to put up a more positive energy? Like, do you change your personality or your approach, your, I don't know, your persona, or basically your energy level when you're dealing with different clients?
Yes and no. No being as a personal trainer and having to deal with clients on a day-to-day basis, positive outlook and that energy vibes.
Yeah.
Must always be there, regardless of whether you had a good day or bad day. The only thing that I would say yes to is that when any of my clients, male or female, when they're feeling a little down, I will need to be more tentative. I need to listen more tentatively. So I really need to pick on the subtle hints as to why they're feeling down.
Right.
So I think it was a couple of times when I picked up that. Of course, you need to know that you're there strictly as their fitness personal trainer. But sometimes, if let's say they have financial struggles or office politics that might stress them out, but they're not willing to, they don't really tell you about the struggles that they've had, but it starts affecting their workouts too. So I need to start picking up on these subtle things and put a footnote on that week itself to know that my client wasn't at 100%, couldn't train as well as they did the week before. So I might need to either tweak next week's program to compensate for it, or sometimes I'll need to encourage them to do more movements or more cardiovascular movements outside of our training session, or encourage them to be a bit more active throughout the weekends. So I would say I would need to apply a bit more changes to it when I pick up subtle hints that they are not feeling well or they are not at 100%. Of course, I need to know that I'm not their therapist. I'm only there as a personal trainer. But at times, when their personal life starts spilling into their workout itself,
does it become your responsibility then?
It does not, but I will need to find ways to minimize that spillover effect.
Right.
Yeah, I will need to ensure that they.
So what do you do?
So like I mentioned before, it's usually the subtle things of changing their workout. So they'll ask, why is the workout a lot easier today? I'll be like, I'll just apply a bit of changes here and there because they couldn't exert themselves 100%. So hypothetically, let's say the program says they need to do 3 to 4 sets of squats, but they couldn't execute all 4 sets of squat because at the second set they start failing. Instead of hitting the repetitions that are required at the 8 to 12, they are barely hitting at 6 and they've started fatiguing. So I might swap that out and replace it with leg press or replace it with a lighter load. So
would you say this is the most challenging part of your job?
To listen tentatively, yes. It's easy for most coaches to just...
You mean attentively, is it?
Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, attentively, correct. Yeah. It's generally easier if I were to just ignore how my clients feel throughout the whole training hour itself, and to just tell them to do what was written, what was pre-programmed. But it eliminates the whole requirement of having a personal trainer altogether. Someone could just get a program online and just try it out if they want to. But having a personal trainer means I need to watch for the subtle things that might affect them, even when they notice, or even when they don't notice, that starts affecting them. And I'll need to reconsider.
You add the more human element.
Correct.
The empathy and I guess understanding that a computer wouldn't be sophisticated enough to understand. Right.
Of course, I'll need to always recognize that I'm only their personal trainer, and I'm not their
therapist.
I'm not their therapist to listen through or to solve their problems or to solve their family issues or to solve their work environment. I can only be there to provide to be there as sort of like a positive factor to encourage them to keep moving, to keep sticking with the program, because they have an end goal that both of us need to meet.
I know you are very into food and cooking. You cook every day for your parents, right? And I think
alternate days, probably.
Alternate days, right. And I know every time you speak about food, you kind of light up a little.
I think that's an understatement.
Do you dip your fingers into your clients' food and diet as well?
So the one thing I need to always keep in mind is that I am not a nutritionist, a dietitian, or anyone in a position where I can offer concrete suggestions to amend their daily food intake. I am, however, capable enough to offer them a general guideline of food and recommended intakes based on provided guidelines by the government. So
provided guidelines by the government.
So, for example, so some of the guidelines that were provided are like per day itself, we need to consume. An average meal need consume this amount of calories to sustain daily activity. And then preferably of what proportion of those calories comes from fat, of what proportion goes to protein, and of what proportion goes to carbohydrates. I can give them general guidelines as to how much what sort of ratio they should be looking at when it comes to their macro intakes. I cannot, however, tell them that, you will need to consume 100 grams of chicken breast per meal, 200 grams of carbs per meal. I cannot offer that concrete suggestion.
Because you're not certified to.
Correct. I'm, however, offering like a more rule of thumb kind of, all right, if you're out and about, you want to consume a meal, you can use if let's say you do not have any scales or weighing equipments with you, you can use your palms and your fists as a general guideline as to how much protein or how much carbs that you should be consuming.
Right.
So a very general approach towards their nutrition.
Right. Do they ask you a lot about these things?
Oh yeah, a lot of my clients do ask me, especially during our first meeting itself. They ask, do you offer any nutritional advice? I think some even go as far as, do you provide meals?
Can you do that? I feel like would be
I think
illegal, or do you not do it because you don't feel qualified enough to do it?
I think it's both.
Right.
I think it's both. Like it would be unethical for me to provide meals as their personal trainer too, because I am not qualified. I think it has a compounding effect. So in that sense.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, legality wise in Malaysia is quite loose, because we do not quite have a proper set of rules that we need to abide by, because my council is based in US and we don't have a like an agency that looks after us. We sort of have to practice it in accords to what we were taught, and that's about it.
Your council?
So I'm with the American Council of Exercise, known as ACE. and they're headquartered in US. ACE credentials are accepted in Malaysia and a handful of other countries around the world. But unfortunately, we do not quite have a local office that sort of looks after our legal and ethical issues. We only have education providers and examination centers.
Wait, so are you still... Do you still work with the council, or because for me, I had a perception that you get your certification from this body, and then you are just independent. It's like a college diploma or something.
Pseudo independent, in the sense that I am an independent contractor by myself. But I would have to continuously recertify myself with the council.
Right.
So it's sort of like a binding. I think all other fitness providers out there do require you to have a continuous education for within the fitness industry. I mean,
right.
Yes, it requires me to be bound with them. But of course, I could always get other forms of fitness education elsewhere, but the ones that are not accredited by my council, of course.
Right.
I mean, what I'm trying to get at is that I can get more outside knowledge if I want to, if I find that skill or that information might be relevant to me, or I could use more of that, or if it's something new altogether, I could add that to my repertoire, but my council wouldn't recognize it by offering me recertification points.
I see.
So every year are required.
You have to recertify
every 2 years. Every 2 years. Every 2 years are required 20 hours worth of recertification credits.
Right. I think there are a few different professions where they need to keep taking tests to prove they are.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think being a pilot is one of them, probably.
Accountants. If you're accredited to ACCAs, I believe. I don't know. I could be wrong on that.
Right. Interesting.
But yeah, I mean, then again, you're in Malaysia. One can even go as far to argue that you could also train a client without a certificate, without proper licensing.
People do that?
There are many who do that. I mean, with the exception of in-house trained gyms, but in-house trained gyms will only entail that you can only work within that gym itself. You cannot work outside of that gym with that certificate that they provide. But of course, you're in Malaysia, so you don't really get in. I should watch what I say now.
You can let go. Do you want a glass of whiskey?
No, not quite. But it's more because there are many trainers out there, especially in Malaysia, that still trains without certificate. And I'm not here to argue that trainers with certificate are better than trainers without certificate, because ultimately it's a collection of knowledge and experience that makes you, and also your interpersonal skills that will make you a really good trainer. There are many trainers with certificates that are equally horrible, and there are trainers without certificate that are equally horrible. I would say both are equal on that spectrum. What I'm trying to get at is that it's easier to get away without certificate in Malaysia.
Right.
As opposed to if let's say you're in Australia, or if let's say you're in US.
What would you say are your strengths? Because just now you said it's a combination of experience, of knowledge, and interpersonal skills that make you a great trainer, right?
For myself, I take pride in getting to know my client very personally, to a point where I can structure their programs well enough so that it suits their need and it suits their time and also their availability too.
Right.
I'm definitely not very experienced. I only have...
Yeah, you started a few years ago.
Yeah, probably 2 years at most worth of experience. And of that 2 years, I've I've encountered clients from different backgrounds, different health backgrounds, different work environment, family, gender, and also age groups. But I definitely wouldn't say that I've had enough experience to take all clients.
Would you say you're friends with your clients?
I would have to be friendly with all my clients.
No, okay, that's different. Being friendly with someone and being friends with someone are different. So you said you take pride in getting to know them quite personally.
So I would say that I would know most things about them more, sometimes even more than their friends would. So hypothetically, some of my older clients, I will even go down to the detail is I will know when their period times are.
Right.
Because knowing this detail will allow me to forward plan all of their program cycles ahead of time. So I do not need to constantly readjust. So I'll know that, okay, this week itself, they'll feel a little down, or if they're not, then I can program accordingly. Some will go even as far as if let's say they are going on a travel plan that they haven't really told anyone. It's something like they just booked a leave and then they're going for a week or 2 weeks worth of holiday, and usually I'm the first person that they contact instead of their friends.
Interesting.
So when they do that, I can quickly block off their training period so they do not have any training sessions with me. So I will resume after they're back. So yes, I will know them. I'll know them on a level that, or at least they are more comfortable with sharing personal information with me a lot more freely than they would with their normal friends.
So if you choose to, if you ever decide to, you can rob a lot of houses quite easily. So sorry, which day are you going away again? Right.
I mean, I could. But good thing. I mean, I've always maintained that level of personalization with all of my clients. I mean, of course, ultimately, it is up to each and every of my client to decide how comfortable they are with sharing some of their personal information. But ultimately, I will use whatever information that they share with me in private to ensure that I design the best program that I can for them.
Right.
So my homework is always, all right, one cycle is done. So let's say four weeks of program is done. All right, the next 4 weeks, what can I take from the individual sessions that they've had? And then of that 4 weeks, what is their frequency of, or what are their attendance rate like? So clients are a lot more consistent. I can program something that requires them to have a more continuous effect. That means I require them to train twice or 3 times a week. So, but if let's say clients who have a lower attendance rate, I will need to schedule something else that will accommodate their schedule. So instead of cramming everything into one session, asking them to do cardio, asking them to do strength, asking them to do multiple major muscle groups at one go, I would focus on a more hypothetically, I could just ask them to focus on a more full body approach and ask their help to work on a more some exercises that we've done before to do it in their own time. So I require their discretion to do some, walks, jogs, cycle, swimming, like some form of movements or activities outside of our training session altogether.
You what was the reason you got into personal training again?
Well, I've always wanted to contribute, to be of service. And during the year when I was traveling in and out of Malaysia, I've had a question as to what would I do that can fulfill this desire, to be of service. And I've remembered when I was back in uni, I thoroughly enjoyed being in the gym. Because back in uni, my times were split. It's either being at home, being in class, or in a gym. Well, with the exception of grocery shopping. And a lot of times when I get stressed out, either from, because I do spend a lot of time in the labs as well. When some experiments do not go my way, I get quite stressed out trying to troubleshoot what went wrong, because it will affect my submission time, and it will affect me mentally as well. And gym was a place where when I go to, I could just dump everything out and just focus on improving my health, improving my fitness, improving my physique. It was that one place where I could just not think about all my other stresses and just be my temple, where I could just
do something that's
very linear,
good for you.
Yeah, good, and also it's something that I can just tunnel in. I can just have a pure tunnel vision on my program
it's simple
itself.
enough that you don't have to stress about it.
So if, let's say, the program requires me to bench, I will just bench. I do not need to troubleshoot. Perhaps I could troubleshoot if, let's say, I wasn't feeling well enough, I couldn't execute the movement. Okay, I might feel a little down that day, but it wouldn't affect me as much as, let's say, my experiments failed, and or my reports wasn't accurate enough or up to their standards. So I don't get that much of a negative feedback that would affect me.
So every time you go to the gym, it's a positive experience.
Yeah, I'll always leave the gym generally very with a very optimistic energy, and I quite like that. So yeah, so it's the idea merged in my head where, okay, fitness and service, okay, I could train someone else, I could walk someone through that optimistic journey that I've had by being in the gym, by taking that program out for them and just allowing them to enjoy the process of improving their health from day one until day X.
I never knew that. I didn't know you went into it. It's like sharing a joy with others for you.
I want to share that process with as many people as I could. I knew that. So the fun part for me was that knowing that everyone was different. So everyone's starting point was different, everyone's end goal was different, but ultimately it's the journey that keeps them constant, where they will need to keep coming in, day out, and having a program that guides them, that suits their need, that suits their goal.
Does this mean that what you find most rewarding about your job is seeing how you impact?
Yeah, so the two joys that I take away from my job is definitely the largest of them all. Is the largest of both of them is the joy that they get through the process itself. So a lot of my clients, newer clients will always get stressed out by, I need to hit a certain weight goal. But some of my older clients recognize that process itself does not stop when you hit a weight goal or when you hit the physique goal, but it was the journey itself that I was trying since day one to impart to them, the joy of being able to work out every day, the joy of being able to enjoy nutritious food, the joy of being able to live life with a much better quality altogether, and how it affects a person and their surroundings altogether. It's just the biggest rewarding factor for me. The other rewarding factor is for my selfish desire, where I like to puzzle solve. So to me, I see each client as a puzzle. They have a starting point and they have an initial endpoint. And how do I piece a bigger picture for them? How do I get them to not just tunnel in on the goal, but just see the whole process as the larger picture that they would enjoy climbing that process, rather than just, I've arrived at the destination and I'm out. So, I mean, whether or not after they've attained their goal, whether they maintain with me or not, to me, it's the least of my concern. The concern is my biggest concern with each and every of my client is that how do they view the process altogether.
Yeah.
If they enjoy the process and they adopt that kind of lifestyle with them, I've effectively change their lifestyle to one of more active, and to one that can make more that can make better choices for their life. I'm already happy. But that's of course on my selfish, more of my selfish trait, where I seek joy in teaching them that no, this is the bigger process altogether. But initially, when I take them in as my clients, I see them as puzzle pieces that I would continuously piece together. How do I use the tools at my hand to just piece a bigger picture for them? I mean, I could say that both reasons are quite similar, but one is from a selfish point of view. One was a genuine point of view that I really want. I really enjoy when they go through the whole life-changing process altogether.
I'm curious. What is that the challenge part for you? Is that where the job is challenging for you, figuring out how to basically solve their problem, or do you find that part to be mostly quite easy? Like, what would you say is a challenge for you? Like, what are you trying to improve yourself on?
So I would say the most challenging part is to impart that idea where the process of converting one's lifestyle far outweighs that goal to fit into that dress size. Although, I mean, one has a more tangible result where I can look forward to. Like, I can look forward to fit in that dress. But it's a nice idea, but what happens once after that goal is achieved?
You're talking about what we were talking before when we were discussing about steroids. The whole everybody likes fast results, and but once you get the thing, like we were saying just now, you have someone who she lost 20 kilos in a short amount of time using some sort of supplements.
Well, extreme. Okay, so let's just take steroids and SARMs out of the equation for now, because okay.
So she was doing some sort of extreme kind of regimen,
very extreme kind of like,
and she lost 20 kilos in a very short amount of time.
Correct. So
4 months, was it?
Something like that. I think she cut down like her before she started her that whole program. That whole crazy journey altogether. She was probably sitting at around 1,500 to 1,800 calories per day on a ballpark. I can only estimate.
Right. Before we get there, so she lost 20 kilos in a very short amount of time because of some crazy regimen, and then she fit into that wedding dress. She looked very slim and trim.
Yeah.
And in a matter of a very short amount of time, she regained
within less than
all
a year.
the weight.
Yeah, within less than a year, she gained
all 20 kilos.
Yes, correct.
Because the program that she was doing wasn't changing a lifestyle, but because it's so goal oriented.
Yeah.
It doesn't last. The effects, the results don't last.
The results were not sustainable.
So you're trying to change. You're saying the challenge for you would be, most people come in with that mindset,
with goal oriented. Yeah, correct.
And you want to, because that is not the best way to go about it, because it doesn't come with long lasting results. You want to change their mindsets.
Maybe I should clarify a little bit more. Don't get me wrong, goal itself is very important.
Yeah.
But unrealistic goals are
right.
very detrimental towards your fitness journey and also your health altogether. So let me give you a little background of this. So this was a friend of my clients, and she described, because she was introduced by her friend to that meal replacement shakes, and also the whole scheme that whole regimen that she was on. Like, I think they effectively told her that no, you do not need to consume any physical meals. You just consume their breakfast, lunch, and dinner drinks. So cumulatively, each pack of drink consists of about 200 to 300 calories that supposedly hits all your protein, your carbs, and your fat requirements, and also your fiber, so that you could sustain your daily life and lose a lot of weight. Well, they weren't wrong on that part. You could lose a lot of weight, because here's the thing. That person could be having 1,500 to 2,000 or 1,800 calories per day, and immediately you reduce it down to 700 to 900, depending on how frequent you have those shakes and how much calories they were. And of course, your body works as simple as this. If you have lesser calories than if you burn more calories than you consume, then you lose weight. Yeah. You consume more than you burn, you gain weight. If you suddenly reduce your caloric intake, of course your body will reduce.
There's
paper.
No choice but to reduce.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. But there are side effects that comes along with that drastic drop of caloric intake too, which I wouldn't get into. But in short, yeah, if you cut your calories by a huge portion, your body will lose a lot of weight in a short period of time. And if, let's say, that diet was not sustainable, if you couldn't sustain that, which no one can, ideally, if you want to lead a healthy life, 600 to 900 calories is not an ideal amount of caloric for daily metabolic functions. So once you go back to your regular diet, your body will just gain a lot of weight back in a short amount of time. Maybe you could gain back less than what you've lost. Maybe you gain as much. Maybe you gain more. But the point is that if your lifestyle does not change from before and after the regimen, your weight will go back to before the regimen itself. The regimen just provide a nice transitionary phase where you look good. But after that, if that regimen wasn't a sustainable one where you could enjoy the process, where you can incorporate a lot of lifestyle changes, your body size will go back to wherever it was. Your whatever you've attained in that short period of time will just lost.
So most people come in with unrealistic expectations.
I wouldn't say all, but a good portion will always ask, can I go back to the size when I was back in high school? I'll be like, how long since you've left high school? If let's say most of them who are working now, they've left high school for a good 5 to 10 years by now. And 5 to 10 years is the amount of time that it took you from high school until now. You don't expect a 1 month program to reverse 5 to 10 years of poor lifestyle choices. Of course, that 1 month could be a start towards changing your lifestyle to one that is more active, to one that you make more better choices for your life.
Okay, so I think processing it, the challenge for you is to how you say it,
shifting their goal from a fully goal oriented to a more process oriented. Is that what you're trying to get at?
No, I was thinking, is it a change of mindset, or is it
mindset is definitely one. Mindset is definitely a huge one.
Or is it changing generally their lifestyle? Wait.
Well, I would say both of them go hand in hand, don't they? Like,
yeah.
you don't just wake up one day and decide, all right, I'm going to change my lifestyle. It's probably a slow. It starts with a shift in mindset.
Okay, so what I was thinking is, what would be your how do you go about that? Because where would you put in the space to change, let's say, their mindset on things? Because you can go about your job without doing that
without all those.
all,
Oh yeah, okay,
right?
all right.
You can just set a program and they'll come to you each week and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
They'll keep going.
Yeah.
So for you, is it trying to change basically their habits, like their lifestyle, basically, right? To instead of thinking of the workout as a chore, right, that they have to do to hit this goal of theirs.
But
from what you're how you're describing it is, you want to make it so that working out is such a joy that
it becomes intrinsic.
They'll just work out without thinking, oh, I need to work out, but they want to work out.
So okay, so
is that it?
So that was it. But okay, so a good portion of my clients will always say that I know I need to do this, but I'm really lazy.
That actually does sound very hard, because it is work. Working out is work. It's called working out, right?
Exactly, precisely.
So how do you make work fun? How do you make someone want to do work? So how do you go about that challenge?
Okay, so the first thing I would always have to set is that I would have to be the perfect example. I will need to talk whatever I know. I'll need to walk whatever I preach.
Right.
Or whatever that I tell them it's a joy. I will need to ensure that I believe in that too. So first is that I will have to be that embodiment, because most of the time I am the only person that they see on a more frequent basis that exercises very frequently. So they see me for inspiration, and they see me for that kind of that beacon. I'm excited to work out because of my trainer right here. So first I need to be the embodiment of that. I can't just tell them to enjoy the process when I hate it altogether.
I think the whole time we were talking, I was trying to draw parallels with your job and mine. But it's actually quite different, because mine don't really have that human element. I think that's probably why I don't get a lot of reward out of my job, except monetary rewards, right? So, but thinking about it, it's actually very similar to me teaching dance.
I would assume so.
Even the intention or why I'm teaching dance in the first place is quite similar, right? It's trying to share with people this thing I found
your joy
very enjoyable, right?
Sharing that joy.
I want people to be able to feel what I feel, be able to do this thing that can give them this feeling that is, I would say, unique. It's hard to find, right? Like it's something about it that is worth sharing, it's worth experiencing, I think. Right? So like you were saying, a big part of teaching is embodiment of what you're teaching. So for me, I think I have a huge roadblock in teaching dancing, because I've been teaching a lot of classes that are beginner level, because those things are very much, they're simple and I've done it. I know how to do them. My next step is, getting more into it. How to improve would be understanding the music and things that have started to become a bit more abstract or they are very small, right? you can go about dancing without actually knowing all these things,
Yeah.
right? That are not what I started doing in the first place,
Yes.
right? It's less fun for me.
Oh.
Yeah. So my challenge for that would be to, I guess, need to find a motivation to do that, to find the joy in music. I haven't been able to do that yet.
Yeah.
Right? Is there a similar kind of challenge for you?
I mean, initially,
Difficulty?
of course.
Like, is there something that is good, is objectively good, beneficial to, I guess, fitness in general, that you should be doing but you don't enjoy as much?
I think yes, but I'll need to bring back to like maybe 4 to 5 or even 6 years ago.
Ah, right.
So
right.
before I was a trainer.
Right.
So before I was a trainer, I would say I could relate more with my clients because I feel whatever they feel. So if let's say I needed to do lunges, I'd be like, why?
Right.
or needed to do things, I would say fitness related too. But the other aspect was paying attention to my nutrition. Let me just give you a clearer picture. Back then, my grocery list before I started delving more into what constitutes health altogether. Was it just the fitness workouts altogether, or is there more than it as well? So back then, I'm your typical student where if let's say I have something to rush, I'll sleep at like 12, 1, 2, or even don't sleep altogether. So sleep schedule can be out of whack. Nutrition wise, on days that I could cook, I would, but on days that I couldn't, I could be eating junk. My grocery back then was always 2 bags of chips with ice cream, with a lot of, like, a good half would be junk, the other half would be some other groceries that I could cook with on days that I couldn't be bothered to cook.
It's not junk, man.
Okay.
It's food that may not be beneficial for your health, but beneficial for your
That's a nicer way of saying
pleasures.
So back then I could just replace one whole meal with just a bag of chips with a can of tuna.
Right.
For example, or a bag of chips with half a pint of ice cream, something like that. When I just really couldn't give a shit, but I've always knew in my head that I really need to watch what I eat. If let's say I wanna improve my health. If I wanna work out better in the gym, I need to make sure that I have better food sources, better energy, so that I can utilize better. I need to hit my protein number so that I can recover better. I need to hit my my fiber so that I do not encounter any difficulties when I want to excrete, or look, small things all the way down to sleep. Sleep affects how I train. I knew all this. Like, some part of me knew 6 years ago that I need to watch all this, but there's always that show. There's always that friend. Let's have a gathering, or there's always something back in uni that I will always give a reason to not sleep well, to not eat better. That it's just easier to go about and not think about, not pre-planning. Okay, if let's say I'm going out, I could always have something before. Eat one of my pre-packed meals, or prepare something that could help satiate my macronutrients need. And
I mean, all these food, they're all designed to basically be super appealing, be ultra appealing to you, right? They may be appealing because of their convenience. It could be appealing because of their taste, and just it tastes really good. So it's hard to get it to leave it behind, to get away from it, or because life is just so much to do, it's much easier to eat something that is unhealthy, but it's just right there. You just need to tear it open and you can eat it.
It's
you don't have to
instant.
care about anything, right?
Yeah.
So it gives you a lot of reasons to go with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So what did you do? How did you get out of that?
So earlier when you asked like, what habit was it that I find really hard to get out of?
Yeah.
To be better at now being a fitness trainer, but back then I was just improving my fitness altogether. So I knew all these things, but I've always had that. All right, I'll start cooking properly, plan all my meals, cook everything.
What was that switch?
Like I just needed to,
Okay.
but it wasn't long lasting.
It's basically willpower.
Yeah, just relying on that willpower. But I think furthest I stretched was like 2-3 weeks, and then after that, it just went down the drain.
Right.
It just reverted back to what it was before.
Right.
Then of course, when I
Because I do think that willpower is
it can go to zero.
a finite
Yeah,
source.
it's limited.
Yeah.
It's limited.
Yeah, and especially when you have more things to do
Yeah,
outside of
yeah,
fitness and the food,
yeah.
it drains your willpower to do these things.
Yeah. So one of my largest contributor back then was knowing that I kept training, but first my numbers weren't improving.
What numbers?
My total lifted, like what I could do in the gym, and also my weight.
Right.
I was getting big, but I was getting fat at the same time. That, and when I was playing games like basketball with my friends, I constantly find myself out of breath.
Okay.
Although I'm the only one that gyms,
Oh, okay.
and none of them do.
And you find that they are actually performing better than you are.
Exactly. So I was like,
That must be frustrating.
that's one huge factor. The other factor I had was I had one friend at that time when he had a breakup at the time, and then he started taking fitness a little bit more serious too, and he started accompanying me to the gym. He was effectively my gym buddy after his breakup, and then we started in a way like we started encouraging each other. So in a way that sometimes I'll pop by his place and then we'll just cook a bunch of meals, and then we'll get all the housemates come over, like we have potluck, but of course we make something that like we'll buy something from market and we just make it, like either we'll roast a whole chicken and then we just have food with everyone. The rest of the guys drinks, we don't, and then some days we go to the gym and then we just pack some food after. So having that one gym buddy that goes to the gym quite religiously with you, that even on days that you don't feel like cooking something healthy, but they just call you up, hey, you hungry? You make some dinner? Then we'll just make it. So it wasn't willpower, but it was just more on having that company
Right.
that sort of built that momentum. Because I knew it wasn't willpower. If it was willpower, I would just slap on my bed after 3 weeks, because I will just be drained.
Right.
But having that constant someone along that journey, through nutrition, through fitness.
I think that's the reason why a lot of people pay people to be accountability partners.
Yes.
Nowadays, or join groups.
Yes.
Right.
So little down the road, somewhere around 3 to 4 months after, we realized that the two of us became very intrinsically motivated. So we weren't relying on our willpower to get us to the gym. It was just more like it became a routine, a disciplinary routine. Like when you wake up, you brush your teeth. It's a routine that we've sort of built up. So for us, if let's say we are training on the gyms on 1, 3, 5, and 6, we are training on 1, 3, 5, and 6. If we knew we will share our schedules with each other, if we knew that the two of us didn't have any classes around the evenings on certain days, those are the evenings that we'll be cooking and we'll be making meals, and then we'll pack meals for the next few days as well. So it became very intrinsic.
It's taking the choice out of it. Right?
Yeah. So that wasn't really a choice. It was just like, oh, okay, let's go about it. And again, 6 months, 4 to 6 months after that, even after we've parted ways, he moved to another state, and I remained in the state I was in, and we both kept in touch, like checking each other up, like whether we like how we've been, and also checking out on our workout progress and stuff. But that part hasn't left me.
Which part?
That accountability part
Right.
was just, it became imbued. Even when I came back to Malaysia.
Are you still in contact with this guy?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
A friend of mine has moved back to Hong Kong and is working now. He will occasionally check out on me to get some motivation to work out. He no longer adopts this, but he no longer works out and eats quite religiously, but that part remained in me.
Right.
But it was at 4 to 6 months that after that 6 months I knew that, oh wow, even when I had a bad day, I just show up in the gym, then the grocery store, then back at home cooking my meal. It became one thing. Nutrition just became a part of my fitness altogether. That after the gym, I'll just walk to the grocery store, pick up some items, go back home, prepare meals for 3 meals.
It's kind of like having a vessel, like having a partner like this. It's kind of like having a vessel that keeps the momentum going.
Yep. And
even when
it's
you
gone,
can take a break for a while without the willpower to push yourself, it's still moving.
Yeah,
right?
the engine just keeps running on its own.
So do you use that with your clients? Like, do you group them together? So
yes. So in a way, I do groom them to be more accountable towards their meals, towards their workout. But I do it in a very subtle way. First, I would have to be that example first.
Okay.
I have to set that first. So every time when they ask me, oh, do you have any meal record? Like, what did you make for dinner last night? I need some inspiration. I'll be like, oh, okay. I steamed out some broccolis. I steamed some fish, and I got some rice that I just cooked, and then sort of like.
So you become their partner, is it?
Yeah. In a way, yes,
right.
yes.
But is that? Can you keep that going? Because I imagine that, okay, a lot of people, I'm not sure if it's your goal, but I think I've talked to some other personal trainers, and their goal is to make it so that their clients can stop training with them, right? But I imagine if that's the goal, right? I'm not sure if is it yours?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so if it's your goal, then realistically over time, the number of people that you have been your clients would increase.
Yeah.
Right. If you are their accountability partner,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be realistic to expect you to keep being the.
So the idea is to be their accountability partner.
Yeah.
To a point where they are accountable on their own already. So imagine to carry them on, to sort of cruise along with them. Then once we part ways, they continue with that momentum on their own.
Right.
I mean, that's the ideal goal, but again, whether each one adopts that kind of energy or that can keep on with that momentum, that is really up to them. I cannot force it on them.
Mm-hmm.
Many clients, a small portion of my clients who have went on their ways that they could train on their own, only to come back to me and they go, all right, I need to restart because they've sort of lost that energy. Then I will again encourage them to be. I will in many ways encourage them to partake a lot more in their program. So simple things as asking them how you feel. How they feel about their workout, into how they feel about their meals. Do they enjoy it? Or what was it that they like about cooking that meal? What was it that they keep making this meal that they like? So to me, asking this a little kind of probing questions about their nutrition helps to incorporate some form of their own emotions when making them or when consuming them, helps along in some ways so that they enjoy a lot more of that process altogether. But again, it doesn't work with everyone, of course, because I do have a handful of my clients who've mentioned to me, well, I could work out on my own, but I just can't summon a willpower. That's what you're here for. I'm like, okay. But of course, not everyone's like that. So I do have clients on that spectrum where without a partner, they cannot be accountable on their own. I mean, they know that they should, but they just don't want to.
Right.
I will always encourage them to restart, to be accountable on their own again, especially on periods of time, especially during MCO period. Where
Do you ever try to connect clients with each other, like another client? So like maybe, especially clients like those where they need another.
So those are the clients when I will ask them, would you like to have a someone quite similar in your state where they want a training partner but they don't really need a personal trainer?
Right.
So if those occasions arise, I will.
So you have done it.
Yeah, but I will have to ask for their consent from both parties first. Are they okay with me sharing the information across? So I'll bring it up to them. Ultimately, if they want to, then I will first, if they are okay with that, I will not share the contacts first. I will have a concurrent class for both of them first. So sort of like a group session.
How is that like?
Well,
sounds like matchmaking.
Not quite, but it's more both knows.
Not kiss.
Because both parties know that they've already had experience of working out. So they are the ones where I will just need to give the program and they know what to do. They just need someone to keep them accountable. So they would come in at the same time and they will both have a similar program just for that day, just so that they can work out together. And if that works out, yeah, it would be great. Only occasionally they'll reach out to me. Could you train us for maybe instead of twice or 3 times a week, maybe once or twice a week instead? Lesser sessions with you still, but the other sessions they will train on their own. Yes, I do have clients that do that before. But again, not many. Many are more comfortable with just having, all right, I'm just gonna pay you, and then
those clients where you hooked up.
yeah.
Are they still together? Do they still train with each other?
Not. So I've only done once where I pair 2 separate clients, and no, they no longer work out together.
Right.
I did not ask the question. Well, I mean, I knew one of them is interstate. I think one of them is on an offsite project, but again, it was all before MCO, so I do not know. I do not know if whether MCO has just make it permanent or whether they're gonna come back together.
This year has made things very weird.
But
it's hard to because things are so different now. It's hard to keep track of what is caused by what sometimes.
But again, back in the case of my clients, it's when they are off on their own, I will only contact them maybe once every 2 to 4 weeks to just check up on them. So hands off, but I still want to have an idea of where they are, just so that they are ongoing with that momentum, with that active lifestyle, and try my best to ensure that they don't revert back to pre-training phase. So that's just that. Of course, some of the clients who've gotten married throughout the journey itself, or have gotten kids, or their lifestyle and their priorities have changed. But even so, I will still catch up with them to ensure that even with kids, it would be great if they can continue on with just a much better lifestyle altogether. Of course, sleep will be challenging for them. Stress is definitely going to be a huge factor, and just time management is going to be horrible for them. But I try to still be sort of their personal trainer still, but not quite, because I no longer train them. But I'll love to ensure, to check up on them to make sure that they are not as physically active, but still they take efforts to incorporate some movements in their daily life.
Does that take a lot of your time? Like, do you still have a lot of free time, or do you?
Recently, free time a bit more on my hands, because I do not have a lot of new clients that I have to constantly update and change their programs. So a lot of programs have already been set. So instead of having to worry about all my new clients on a day-to-day basis, right now I'll just need to check their programs every month, every 2 months, just to ensure that their MySale cycle's updated. All right, check, move on next one, check, move on to the next one.
So for you, every time you have a new client, it's like the most work comes in the beginning.
The bulk of the work, yes.
And then as time progresses, each client gets easier and easier and becomes less work.
I wouldn't say the work is less, because if there are any changes to their life, I would have to adapt as well. So changes will I'll say the work remains about the same, but it gets easier because I understand my clients better. I understand their tendencies. I understand their preferences. I understand their inclinations of whether they would prefer this, they would prefer that. And just in general, I will have a much clearer picture of their lifestyle. So if, let's say, I'm not with them, but on a weekend, I have an idea of what they're doing. So that gives me a better picture on how I can train them. So if, let's say, they're the type where on weekends they love to hike, they love to go for sports, I wouldn't program a heavy session on a Monday, for example. So if, let's say, they went for a long distance bike ride, so some of them could go for like 100 kilometers bike ride or 200 kilometers, and then they come back. So their Sunday is pretty much family time, and then their bike session with their friends, and then they come back. I wouldn't program a heavy session for them, for example.
Interesting.
But yeah, work doesn't quite get easier, but work doesn't quite get less. It just gets easier to have an idea. Have an idea of what they're doing, and to program their future training cycles. It becomes easier.
Has becoming a personal trainer, has it made it easier for you, like for you to keep your own fitness and momentum in check?
I would say they are mutually exclusive. They are
really?
Yeah. So for mine, I would say
you don't find it helps that much at all.
Because I've always kept so the momentum that I have was when I had that training partner of mine.
You don't really need help in that regard.
Yeah. So that kept me going for a long time, and now it's just even if the gym has no one in it, but I know they are open.
Well, actually, there. Does it make it harder? Because actually, for me,
it doesn't take you away from dancing?
No, it's not dance, it's the storyboards.
Okay.
Right? Or actually, ever since I've started college or working, especially working, drawing storyboards and stuff like that, I have not drawn for leisure or for myself.
So when you pen something down, it's all
because I get so tired of just drawing already, right? Of creating things that are in that nature, creating things with drawing and art and whatnot. That outside of work, I just don't want to touch that shit. Because
also because
does that happen for you?
No, because. Remember the part when I talk about I view each client as like a puzzle that I wanna piece a bigger picture for them. Same goes to my fitness journey, my health journey.
I guess for you, it's not like you have to work out for them. It's
Yeah.
For you, the work isn't the working out.
Yeah,
when it comes to your job, right?
Yeah.
It's
my job has like maybe 25 to 40% actual training to show them how to train.
Right.
And the other portion is just getting to know them, hearing them, creating a program that suits their needs and checking their form. It's only the initial stages where I have to show a lot of workouts to them because they need to be more kinesthetically aware of how to move with the best form. And once we've passed that stage, and once they've gotten to a stage where workouts become more easily understood, I do not need to continuously show it to them. So I do not work out with them. I do not work out with them, but I just have a program with them and then just guide them through and just talk with them. And pretty much the whole process itself is just me having a chat with them. Like okay, how was this? How did you feel after this bench session? How did you feel after this squat session? How did you feel after this whole circuit? How was it to you? So talking, of course, being humans, we will also talk a little bit outside of training as well, wherever they feel like, whatever makes them happy, or be like, oh, I've got a promotion, or someone complimented me. My chin looks a lot sharper. My jawline is there. So some of my colleagues complimented me. So I was like, oh, so I mean, those are the things that we could drag on. We're going to talk a little bit more because it's sort of like an energy vibe that kind of. Energy vibe I can
actually,
tap into.
That brings me back to a question I was asking before. Like, I don't think you actually. I think the topic went elsewhere.
Yeah.
But are you friends with any of your clients? Like, are there any of your clients that started off as clients and then you become friends that you hang out outside of work as well, outside of
hang out
the gym?
No, not quite. No. Only very, very rare occasions. Very rare.
There have been.
Yeah. So for a few instances where I'll have a coffee session with my clients, it's usually one of those sessions when I would initiate those sessions if I find some of my clients they are feeling a little down. They don't feel good. So I get a lot of negative feedbacks as to how their workout is. So I want to know them a lot better. So I'll take them out of a gym setting. I'll put them in like at that cafe where I can have coffee, just so that I can.
But it's still very much
professional
client trainer relationship.
Yes.
Interesting.
I don't think it would get. I don't think. No, actually, I can say confidently now my clients went beyond that client, never went to that friendship level.
Is there a reason? Is that because you actively try not to let that happen? Or
I somehow feel like if I become their friends, I will lose that edge I have that makes me a trainer. Like if let's say I were to go training with you, it's very different than my mindset is very different than that when I'm training my clients.
What's the difference?
So when I'm training my clients, I become very focused as to what they're doing, how they're doing it, and even when I do not have a watch or a timer with me, my mind is constantly ticking, having an idea of how long it takes them to complete one set, how long of a rest that they're getting.
Right.
Although, I mean, I'm not going to constantly push them, all right, you need to keep everything under 30 seconds. But it's having an idea. So if let's say we have 2 weeks of continuous sort of like recovery session, or let's say a heavy session. If let's say the workouts are almost identical, but if the second session I notice that it takes you twice as long to finish a set, it takes you twice as long to get your rest. I want to know why.
Right.
But if I'm training with you, I could just get swayed away with our conversation. We could just be mucking around. We won't. I wouldn't have that focus that I have.
Right.
When we're playing.
You can let go.
Yeah, I let go a lot more. Of course, that whole thing that being constantly aware of what they're doing, it's draining as well. That is the draining part of the work. Because I have to be there, actively be there. Even if when I'm not standing, even if I'm setting up their next station, my mind is constantly ticking. Then if it's just a one-off session, a one-off instance where I'll ask, it took you a bit longer to finish that set. Was it a little tougher, or talk to me? Was it painful, or what was causing that?
Yeah, like you said, being attentive.
Right. But when I'm training my friends constantly in the gym, it's always very carefree. It was just me training and then mucking around, playing around, train, mucking around, playing around.
Right. Interesting.
So I think that has served me really well. Like
being able to separate between the two.
So because I've definitely trained friends who've approached me, hey, want to go gym together? I've never treated them as my clients.
Right.
So when I train with them, I will still watch their form if let's say something goes really off, but I won't have that sharp focus as to that attention to that small little details, rest time, and all that shit. Yeah.
That's cool. That makes me feel better, like training with you, because I don't know, I'll feel a little bit of like shit. Am I making you work? Or like I don't want to feel like you know.
I'm quite carefree when I train with friends.
Right. That's cool.
Unless when they get injured, I'll be like, okay, what's wrong? I'll try to use a bit of my knowledge to sort of figure out what went wrong. But if it's out of my field too, I'll be like, all right, you just need to see some, get some help, specialists or whatnot.
Interesting. Okay, I think let's end the podcast here. I think it's a good note. I think
that's a good note.
Yeah, it makes you feel better.
Let's stop it right there.
Because it's been 1 hour 20 minutes already.
That's solid, man.
Actually, I think more than that. Because we add in the part where we're eating the sandwich. Maybe next time we can cook something else.
Probably good idea. Probably over a dinner setting. That'd be nice.
That'd be cool. Yeah. Let's try that. Okay, man.
Right.
Thank you for listening, everyone. Do you have anything you want to say to?
No, just thank you for having me here, and it's a beautiful setup you have right here.
Thanks, man. All right. Again, this is Peng Hooi. If you're looking for a personal trainer, you can hit me up to hit him up. I can pass you the contact anytime. All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.
Bye.